Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another What's Up Wednesday, episode 105. Yes, we've passed 2 years of doing this show live. Oh my gosh, it's a learning experience every time we do this. We got a fun show for you tonight. We are actually live on site in Sarasota, Florida with the Vanlife Outfitters team. They're being very quiet here on Lily across from me. It's just going to be a great show tonight. We've got all kinds of camera angles and some experts in the house. And let me kind of share with you what we're going to do tonight. So we're going to talk about DIY. Now, many of us have already bought vans or want to buy a van, but if you are kind of tinkering with the idea of doing it yourself, DIY, then you'll want to stay tuned and get your questions ready, because this team are experts at building vans with products that they put together in a van lab, we'll call it. And we're going to tour a van lab here in just a few minutes. And then, of course, we've got the song of the week. And I'm happy to say that these folks are kind of libation folks, so we're gonna have a Heineken cheers at the end, although we don't have technically a libation live tonight. So that's what we're doing. Thanks for watching. Again, it's talking about DIY, do it yourself, versus buying a pre-built one. If you're again tinkering with that, or you want to add things to your van that you already have, this is a big deal. So you want to really zoom in tonight, think about what kind of products are you thinking about for your van. Brand new year ahead of us, and this is a good way to get things started. Let me zoom in here for you. I did a survey a few hours ago and asking the question, what is your biggest reason for not doing a DIY van? And I would probably put myself in the number one category, that no DIY expertise. I can change a light bulb, but that's about it. Although I've gotten a little bit better at doing some things, but I'm not equipped to build a van. But a lot of folks don't have time. Electrical concerns is a big deal and prefer the pros to do the work. All those are good reasons. But again, this team tonight, what makes them special is that they help DIYers and provide products to camper van owners to enhance your travel experience. So we got Josh and Zach sitting quietly here. But again, we love answering your questions. This, please, is the way to ask a question so I can more readily see it. That's 3 asterisks followed by 3 question marks, and type in your question, and that's will help me find it and get it elevated more quickly. Here's some topics. Even DIYers have to deal with all this stuff. Tanks, organization, Wi-Fi and cellular, lithium, solar, the list goes on and on. So if any of that is of interest to you, this is a great team to bounce some ideas off of tonight. We always like to talk about camper van tips. We're going to bring that back this quarter. If you have a good camper van tip, or if you don't think it is, send it in and I'll be the judge of that, I guess. Some of my best tips have come from you that actually implement, then we talk about it, like bug zappers and dish soap. That'd be funny in a van. Dish soap. So send them in. That's the, let me zoom in here for you. This is the email address. And I see some familiar folks in here. We're trying a new microphone system. So if somebody can give me a thumb up that we are being able to be heard okay, that would be great. So if you guys can, ladies and gentlemen, help me just give a thumb up. Let me know that we're being heard clearly, trying a new system tonight. Also, if you are feeling generous and want to pay for the libation habit, we have our tip jar. You get a jingle in the jar that also elevates your question using the super chat or super stickers. So every dollar matters. This is what I do for a living. Thank you, Mark. Looks like we're being heard loud and clear. And don't feel obligated, but every dollar is well spent and well enjoyed. Wait till you see my liquor cabinet if you're going to the gathering. OMG. Okay, a couple more things. Where am I coming at you from? And then we'll get into the meat of the matter tonight. I'm coming at you from Sarasota, Florida. And let me show you the van view here. Yeah, look at that. Is that groovy? Yeah, we're side by side with the vans. And I am actually sitting outside of Vanlife Outfitters workshop and their facility, but that's the best way. It's pretty impressive. My van clearer than this is the van we're going to tour. This is Zach's van. If you're not familiar with Sarasota, it's on the Gulf Coast, so the opposite side of the Atlantic. It's a little south of Tampa. It's a really nice area of Tampa. I really prefer the Gulf Coast to the Atlantic coast. Weather is absolutely perfect. It's going to be nice and chilly overnight in the low 60s, well, high 60s. Oh, this is kind of goofed up there. It's going to be in the low 50s tonight, which is perfect RV weather. Warm days, cool nights, no AC needed. So amazing. And this is some gasoline prices. There is a collusion, I'm pretty certain, on gas stations because Costco, I bought gas for $2.99 today. Everybody else is at $3.30, $3.25. So it's pretty funny. And if you look really close, you can find some really expensive real estate in Sarasota. It's one of the prime spots of Florida. So with that, we'll say hi to a few folks, and then we'll get our guests in and talk about some events. So let's just say hi to some of the regulars. That's what we like to do, is just kind of give a shout out. If you're new to the program, please take a minute and type in NEW, and we want to give you a shout out for sure. Let us know where you're watching from, and if you can share what your that's what it looks like right there, where you're watching from, what's your weather and what's your gasoline price. That would be really, really awesome. We got Ohio Sharon in the house. We got New York Ron, some regulars. Here's Sherry. She's been working really hard on some stuff we'll talk about here in just a second. Excited for the show, and all the MC owners who want to be at the Florida Vanlife Gathering. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. We got Jane in the house. Denham's in the house. Good to see you. Here's Rich. Yeah, you're going to love the Florida weather, Rich. Is Mrs. Kurtz coming? I certainly hope so. Here's Rick. And good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming in tonight. And here's Road to Life. You've called in sick twice now. 2 Wednesdays in a row to join us live. It's just a delight to have you here. Good to see you, sir. Dave is in the house from Natchez Trace. Oh, that's up by Tennessee, right? Is that right? Or is it Kentucky? Nomad Man. That might be a new one. I'll be heading to the Casa Grande, Arizona soon. That's got to be pretty. Here's David in the house, Indianapolis. Bob Scott. Good to see you. And Flagler Beach. We're seeing you guys soon. Kathmandu. Good to see you. So a lot of regulars in here. Here's Tim. Thank you for joining us, Tim. Appreciate that. Here's Justin. Tuning him St. Augustine, one of the great places on earth, right? Pretty amazing. Sparks Guy, K3, a lot of folks. And we got some questions coming in already. And this is Bill and Joe. We met them at the roundup. We'll talk about that in just a second. We did have a great time, and more of those coming your way. All right, let's talk about some van events. We want to get to our guests tonight. So if I missed you, I apologize. There's always next Wednesday. So van events. This is big stuff. Roundup. We mentioned this. Let me zoom in here for you. This has happened. We did this on Saturday. There's actually a distillery in Oakland Park, Florida, which is on the Atlantic side. Cute little town. Never been there before. So I love about Harvest Hosts, because it takes you places you wouldn't go to make some discoveries. Look at these crazy people. I think we had like 5 or 6 vans, a couple of carloads. We had such a good time. So thank you for everybody that came. We took over the whole place. It was awesome. And Chainbridge Distillery, if you're into clear spirits, vodka, rum in particular, and infused vodka in particular, hit them up. They're a small business. They just had their a baby they expected like within 24 hours of us being there. So I'm sure mama's had a new child already. This is just great. But hit them up. They have some really unique stuff. We'll be sharing this at the Florida Vanlife Gathering. Here's a shot of their some of their products. And I don't know if you could buy it online, but check them out. If you're in Southern Florida, go spend the night with Harvest Hosts, and you'll understand what we're talking about. Speaking of Southern Florida, January 19th, that's next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, we've got the roundup at the Super Show. And this is happening at the Lazy Days RV Winnebago booth. Drink the water. Many of you have said you're coming. I'm really delighted. What makes us really special, Volta, Jack Johnson, the CTO and co-founder of Volta, is going to join us. So taking tons of lithium questions. And if you know anything about Jack, if you can talk with him before, he can really geek out on this stuff. I kind of know what it does. I don't know why it doesn't. So bring all your lithium questions for Jack. That would be great. A couple last things where I should say hi to the guys here. They're all chomping at the bit. So this is a huge, huge thing. This is the Florida Vanlife Gathering happening February 3 to 5. It's kind of mid-state. It's about an hour west of Tampa. It's at a county park. Is that right, guys? Let me show you the zoom out here so you can see this. We'll talk about this for a second. We got a lot of folks going on here. So this is Zach and Josh. I'm going to come up with Matt. So Zach, say hi.
Howdy.
And Josh.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
So that's kind of the guest cam view. So they're kind of parked. The camera's here on the driver or the passenger seat spun around. So this is the view of them. Guys, just tell us about this, how this Florida Van Vanlife Gathering come about? Do you know what you're getting into and how many vans? And we got a big posse from Go Small Live Large coming.
Yeah, we're so excited. I'll start, and you can jump in, Josh, if you want. So this just is an idea we had. Not a lot of van life gatherings on the East Coast. Nothing in Florida, and we're like, Florida in the wintertime, what a great place to have a gathering. And no, we did not have any idea what we were getting into. It's turned into an enormous project, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Like, we have a lot of cool stuff planned.
Yeah, and if you haven't been to the website, well, a couple things. So if you want to go, let's go back to this view right here. This is gonna be fun tonight. Go to their website. You can get all the information, get tickets, use the discount code GSLL15 to get 15% off. Thank you for doing that for the viewers. Appreciate that, you guys. What's cool is if you go to the website, there's the schedule is there and the map. Are you ready for this? This is what it looks like. It's kind of an eye chart, I'm sure, from what you're looking at. But what's really cool is they've given us 2 rows. I think we've almost filled these up, right?
Yeah. We need to give you a third row.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but when you go to the website, you can look at this. They've actually named 2 streets. One is the Scott Watson Way, and the other is Go Small, Live Large Lane. So I think it's super clever. And how many vans do you guys kind of expect at this point?
We're on pace to have somewhere between 250 and 300 vans.
You know, that's a small city, right?
Yeah.
Small town.
Yeah.
I've driven through towns that size.
Right.
They have police departments
Right.
and sewer and
And
radio
this is what
stations.
we're up against. Except a lot of people were bringing their own toilets, which we're very grateful for. It's a little side benefit.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
bring a self-contained camper van. But it's going to be a ton of fun, and it's just an honor to be part of this. I am actually going to be doing a workshop on Saturday on Urban Camping 101. I'm kind of the atypical van life person. I don't run up into the woods communing with the moose and the mosquitoes. I'm looking for a small town, like 300 or 400 people, with a historic district, a saloon, and some history. That's what I like doing. So, yeah, go to the website, Florida Vanlife Gathering.
FloridaVanlife.com.
FloridaVanlife.com, and you get all the scoop there. A couple more things. Speaking of events, let's get to this real quick so we can get Josh and Zach. So I'm happy to say, and kind of sad to say, sold out the Luckenbach, Texas event. We've got actually a little over capacity. That's okay. We're going to have a ton of fun. Luckenbach, if you haven't been to Luckenbach, Texas, truly a magic spot on earth. The good news is if you can stay for the day, we did open up. We got quite a few folks coming for this already. You're not able to camp with us, but you can get some accommodations in the area or take your van elsewhere, or even kind of anyway. So join us for the day events, and we got a lot of folks coming for that too. So it's going to be a hoot and a holler. Last thing, and then let's do some DIY Q&A. So Embassy RV, who's going to be well represented at the Florida Vanlife Gathering, we're doing a YouTube live with Terry Minix, VP at Embassy this Friday at 2:30 Central. And we're going to be talking about kind of what makes them different, what makes them special, and why you might want to consider them if you're buying a van. Doing a year in review, and they've got some updates on some of their floor plans, so you don't want to miss that. 2 last tidbits here. Oh my gosh, I got a lot going on. Sorry. YouTube channel. You know this is a YouTube channel, right? So we got some videos. So this is one that came out last Sunday. Good reason to have a camper van, because you can do a 48-hour staycation, having tons of fun, and you can follow me around in Southern Florida for that. And then this Sunday I'm really excited to release this video. I've ditched my propane grill. We might have to talk with you guys about this, because it's really cool. This is the Otzi grill. That big old bad boy literally folds up to an inch. And if you know anything about me and my propane grill, it was a love affair, and then we broke up. And I'm going to tell you why in that video, so you don't want to miss that. All right. So let's talk with these guys. This is what the whole thing's about. So what we want to do is just kind of talk about, just give us a little flavor of what is Vanlife Outfitters. So I was a little mistaken in that I thought you guys built vans when I met you at the Chattanooga Adventure Van, because you had a couple of cool vans there. But you really are more of enablers of DIY through advice, expertise, and products. And maybe just kind of walk us through your van lab thinking and how that works into the other ways to help folks. And then we'll get some questions.
Yeah, I mean, so Vanlife Outfitters actually started as a blog. I've been into camper vans since I was a teenager. My first van was actually a 1971 Westphalia that I had all kinds of Grateful Dead paraphernalia on, and I drove it around the country, getting a lot more law enforcement scrutiny than I had hoped for. My dad told me not to do that. Long story. So when these cargo vans came out, I'm like, I'm going to make one of these because I've been wanting to do that for like pretty much my whole life, right? And so I did it. I found it to be very rewarding, but very hard. So I started blogging about it, telling people what I learned, weird stuff. And then Josh and I, years later, like during COVID, basically, we decided, we could take this idea of the blog and help people in other ways by basically creating a curated catalog of the best stuff. Because if you're going to DIY your van, one of the first challenges you have is out of the 10 billion products that you could use, which ones are the best? Which ones would we recommend? So it was a question I got a lot. It's like, what would you recommend? So we're like, well, what if we had the store with just our recommendations? So it's the opposite of Amazon. We're like just the catalog of things that we really love that we put into our own vans and can kind of endorse in that way. And then we try to back it up with what we call world-class support, where we've actually, because we've tested the products, because we live with the products in our vans, we can tell you how they work from a technical perspective, but also kind of like help you use them to get the most out of them over time.
And that's a pretty big deal. I love that because Amazon sells everything, but don't know much about everything.
Right.
So it's up to the person to really understand that. And the Vanlife, I'm going to put this up on the screen here quick. So again, I think what's really interesting is you guys, and the word you use is lab.
Right.
So you kind of experiment with these different products.
Yeah.
We're going to give, Zach is going to give a tour of this van here in just a second. So this is an example. It looks very different than most vans right out of the gate, right? But this is stuff you guys have tested, tried, can help bring some advice and expertise to this.
Yeah. So we, as camper van people, as van lifers, we travel in these vans, and then every couple of years we're compelled to build a new one, which is a horrible process, frankly. It's something that like the outcome is really rewarding, but the process is really hard. But every couple of years we're compelled to do it because, especially in the last few years, there's been so much innovation in the space, electrical systems, air conditioners, all kinds of really interesting products that we're like, we have a little bit of FOMO. We want those in our new vans. Didn't exist when we built our last van. But also, what a great opportunity to take these new products from the vendors who we're working with and actually, road test them and see what we think. So our van builds are something we use, but they're also kind of like this laboratory or petri dish for the products. And we decide what we like and what we don't like. And then the good stuff, sorry about your plant there, gets into our catalog. Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive. So you guys got to focus on the DIY segment a little bit. Do it yourself. Whoops. Do it yourself right here. That's my, right there it goes. So a lot of DIY folks think it's kind of cool. There's a lot of challenges that go into that. You have to be an electrician. You have to be a plumber. You have to be an installation expert. Assemble it all together. So how do people typically work with you guys? Is it on the furniture? Is it electrical only? I mean, how if somebody want to get started, what's the way things get rolling? They have a chassis, I assume, right?
Uh-huh.
And then what happens next?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so, and that goes back to the blog and the content we create. Because we talk to so many people doing this, and it's not just DIYers, actually, we have a whole cohort of customers that are actually professional builders as well, because they can also benefit from these experiments that we're always running. But, what it comes down to is like, we've identified the pain points. So when you talk to like 100 people a day, this poor plant, about, what they're struggling with, you're like, that's what we should blog about. That's what we should make a video about. And so in our catalog, we try to solve problems with products. And then in our blog and our YouTube channel, we try to take that distillation of like what everyone's struggling with and then make videos about that or blog posts about that. And that's, that I think that's very unique in our DNA, like kind of going back to the Amazon thing. You can't be like, hey, Alexa, what's the best fridge for my camper van? I mean, you can. She's probably going to give you a sassy answer, right?
Like a General Electric side by side.
Exactly, right. Should be like camper van.
What is that?
Yeah.
So DIY, do it yourself, kind of build from scratch. But if somebody already has a camper van, they want to replace the refrigerator. How do you folks deal with enabling somebody that either wants an upgrade or that wants to add something to their van. Maybe they've got an old AGM type system. They want to do some lithium.
Yeah, so we've sort of become sort of experts in that field as well. There's a lot of people that have pre-built Class B RVs and vans, and they want to swap out. Typically, it's the air conditioner or the electrical system. And so, over the last couple of years, we do some innovation in our workshop here, where people bring us their vans, and if it's something that really interests us and we can learn from and pass on that knowledge to the community, we will take on that project. So we've had people with Travados bring us their Travados and Revels and all different kinds of vans with these kind of slightly outdated systems, or just kind of like the base model electrical systems or air conditioners, and they just want to kind of improve that whatever system that they have, and we will work on that, and we'll come up with kind of the procedure, the system that we need to do that, and then we pass on that knowledge to the community.
That's really cool. So rather than kind of going back to the dealer that only kind of knows one track and really trying to experiment with yourself, you guys provide some advice and, again, best in class products, using your big expertise to help them find the product and maybe even install it.
Yeah, it's kind of the hybrid. It's like, there's a lot of advantages to buying a pre-built van, a Class B RV. You don't have to deal with the horrific process of building it, So, but what if you could just change a few things, like making it more off-grid capable, as an example, with a more powerful or, more, capable electrical system, or, if you want to like swap out some of the bits and pieces to customize it to your taste and to the way you use a van. That's where our store and to some extent our service comes in. So we don't do a lot of service and installations, but we do that enough to, like Josh said, to kind of keep our heads in the market, to understand how people are using their vans, and to innovate where we can. So it's a place where you can say, I have a van that I love, I didn't have to build it, but I just want to increase the capabilities in these 3 specific ways. That's a place we could probably
help you out for sure.
Yeah.
And DIY really is from skin in, right? Insulation to panels. I noticed on your website that there are Promaster panels. So I mean, you guys really go deep on this. And like you said, you provide products to van builders like Rover Vans and some others. Not sure they work with them directly, but I love Peter and his whole system. I got his ladder and tire carrier in the back of my van. That's pretty impressive. You supply builders of vans to enable people's dreams. It's not just a curated,
Our goal is to make the DIY and the DIY and van building process easier. So we've innovated our own line of products and kits and all different kinds of things to make that process easier. And on the professional builder side, it's more about like saving time. And so we've kind of innovated some of these products that save builders time and make the whole build process a lot more convenient for builders.
So again, it's kind of a vetted, curated shop. So this is, let me show this. So the URL again is vanlifeoutfitters.com. There's the blog on there. There's some videos. There's a lot of products. I was pretty impressed. Again, Promaster interior panels. That's kind of wild. Let's talk about events where they can find you folks. So clearly we've got the Florida Vanlife Gathering coming up in a few weeks. It's a really big deal. Tickets still available? You guys kind of, they're getting up to the capacity.
It's getting pretty full.
Volunteers, you're looking for volunteers? I've gotten a couple of emails.
Yeah, we're always looking for volunteers. On that schedule page, we have a button where you can go straight to the sign-up sheet to sign up as a volunteer. Those spaces are filling up quick as well, but we're always looking for love on the volunteer front.
And they spend like all day in the baking sun and get paid tons of cash?
Just a 4-hour shift. Just a 4-hour shift. It's going to be 75 degrees and sunny, hopefully.
It's beautiful. I can't wait.
Yeah, 4-hour shift. We try to keep the volunteer shifts really humane and easy and fun. So you'll get to meet some people. You'll get to help us out. Get some T-shirts.
I was going to say some swag, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Sure.
Yeah, volunteering is going to be a really great way to meet people, because you're going to be, kind of the center of kind of the whole gatherings.
The gathering, yeah. Let's talk about where folks can see you in case they're not going to the Florida Vanlife Gathering. So you guys go to a lot of the adventure van expos. So you're an exhibitor at, not producing the event.
Right.
These things you learn. I learned a few things today. That's why we do these things. And if you go to your website, Vanlife Outfitters, your event schedule is there. You guys are going to be very busy.
Yeah, we try to go to a lot of the events throughout the year. Obviously, it's difficult with running Vanlife Outfitters, but we're getting better at working remotely, and we are going to try and attend a lot of the events out west, but definitely all the ones on the East Coast for sure.
That is so great. We're going to do a van tour here. Let me just show you what this is. This kind of cool. You guys like this, ladies and gentlemen? We kind of did this. We had the lunar cam out last night or last Wednesday, showing the full moon come up over, and over the hour it transversed right out of frame. It was pretty cool. The full moon.
Cool. Yeah, we're going to be a full moon for the Florida Vanlife Gathering.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, full moon. I know, right?
Will be out.
Zach is going to give us a tour of his van here in just a second, but let's answer some questions because this is about a Q&A. So I'm going to put these up on screen. I'm really testing your guys' eyesight. So I'll read these out loud because I don't think you can see that. Trying something new tonight with the 4 screen. So CJ wants to know, howdy, Scott. Is it possible to have videos of you driving on the road sometimes just to enjoy the scenery with you? Sure, why not? It's a good idea. B-roll, we call that. With some music. Yeah, we're doing a lot more travel stuff. That's something I've really not done a good job at now with over 500. By the way, 500 videos uploaded, 5 million views, just past 30,000 subscribers. So thanks to each and every one of you for being so supportive. And again, mentioned we crossed over 2 years doing this show. So I'm going to take it a lot more places. They don't perform well on YouTube, but you know what? That's okay. I got a lot of van tours coming up. We got the Super Show next week. So yes, CJ, to answer your question, we'll be showing lots of that. Get your questions coming in. Think about products you want for your van. Should I get this or that? And those are the kind of things we want to help you with. Like here's Steve, got a good question here. Steve asks the team, what are 2 to 3 LIFEPO for brands? So that's a lithium battery brands that are good deals right now, preferably on Amazon to replace AGMs, or maybe get from Vanlife Outfitters. You guys kind of like Victron, is that right?
Yeah.
So what are some good brands you would recommend?
Yeah, so we definitely are big fans of Victron Energy. And so we sell their batteries. They have 2 different types. You can have a drop-in replacement battery, which is what Victron calls a super pack. So this would be something equivalent to like a Battleborn type battery, usually 100 amp hours, have an internal BMS. They also make their Smart Series batteries.
And BMS stands for
Battery Management System.
Thank you.
So lithium batteries are very expensive and very capable. But they don't like to be too hot, too cold, over voltage, under voltage. So the BMS controls that so that you don't ruin your battery. Sometimes the BMS is built into the battery. In most cases, I think most van lifers are familiar with batteries that drop into place to replace an AGM battery, as an example, has the BMS built in. Victron Smart batteries, they have an externalized BMS, which has a couple of advantages. One key thing in a van is that the energy density in the same footprint is like double. So you can get like 200 amp hours in the space of a 100 amp hour battery. So we carry both of those lines of batteries. Battleborn batteries are a Vanlife favorite. They make a great battery for internal BMS. Lithionics is another kind of battery that we sell. These are basically the Cadillac, if you will, or name your favorite brand of fancy car, very high end, super feature rich, but on the high end on price point as well. But they make really great batteries, and we're a distributor for them. We notice a lot of our customers using SOK batteries, which is a really, I guess, high value brand. So you get a lot of bang for the buck, and across the board, people have been reporting really good experiences with them, especially for a value battery.
And I will say that those Victron batteries, the 200 amp hour smart lithium Victron batteries, they fit really nicely if you're upgrading the Travados, and they fit really nicely in the battery pan underneath the van. 2 of those, so you can get 400 amp hours of those Victron batteries if you have a Travado, like Scott.
I do a trim. Mine's powered by Volta. You know, I kind of poke fun at this, and I'm so spoiled because I don't really know how the generator world works, and kind of living off AGMs or living off solar. This is my only experience now, having owned the van for 4 years and entering my 4th year of full-time travel. It's pretty amazing. But when we do surveys of what do you want in your van, power, electricity, and what do you want to change out? Power, electricity is always the number one thing. So do you see this trend? A trend, or is it a fad? And again, looking for expertise, it's nothing you want to fool with, right? Power is pretty.
I think it's
deadly.
Definitely more than a trend. You know, because at a foundational level, van lifers really appreciate being off grid and not tied to like a campground or an RV park. And so I think this is why power matters, self-generated power. And then what we're seeing is just a general increase in what we would call loads. So people, you know, a couple of years ago, no one even considered running, let's say, their air conditioner off their battery. And then the Volta system and some other high capacity systems came on the market, and that became a viable thing. And so we just see people wanting to run more and more off their batteries for longer and longer periods of time. So we've done a lot of work in that space to create what we call a secondary alternator power system that is very similar to the Volta in its functionality, but is available to DIYers. So this allows you to power those huge loads, have a big battery bank, and recharge it in just a few hours of driving. But yeah, power is the one thing.
It's the one thing, and it's so freeing, and it's so hard to describe this to folks. And I was going to say and for me, like off-grid is staying downtown Ybor City outside of Tampa. That's what I'm doing on Monday night. I'm going to street camp, urban camping as I call it. You know, you can't do that, especially when it may or may not be hot or cold. So AC overnight, get 10, 12 hours out of a single charge.
Yeah.
The freedom that allows you to do is just, until you experience it, it's just unbelievable. So, and as I drive, you make your electricity. So, so if you're looking to kind of up your game on the electrical situation in your van, hit Josh and Zach. They'd love to talk you through that, and probably have a kind of a self-install kit. Is that a fair assumption? Or
yeah, so we have a DIY friendly bundle, that we call it. So we have a bunch of electrical bundles that are a combination of free blog posts that tell you about the system, very detailed wiring diagrams that are free, and then since we're a store, we sell a product bundle of all the things you need to make that. And because we put it in a bundle, it's really good pricing. So we're able to like give you the best price possible because you're buying all those things at once. So yeah, that's one of the areas we really specialize in our Mad Van Laboratory is, I keep hitting that plan, is really
it's gonna hit you back.
really like feeling those pain points and living them in our own vans, and then trying to come up with, engineer the system that enables that off-grid experience for people in their own vans.
It's so great. And I love you guys are kind of firm on the generators for Florida Vanlife Gathering. And I'm just seeing more and more that you go to Harvest Host sites. And we can't, you know, I'd rather be in a van, moving around, experiencing with a generator. At least you're in motion, right? So, you know, a lot of folks get me flack for being too lithium, what's the right word, biased, bigot. But it's what I know. So let's say hi to a few folks. We're going to do a van tour here in just a second. So Mark, let's see, Giles right here. Hey, look at that. Thanks, Giles. Appreciate the tip. Canadian, $5. Is that $5 Canadian? Yeah, CA. Is that what that means?
Yeah, probably.
I think so.
CA.
So it's like the euro. It's like $5 still. So, hey, we love our friends from the north. Can't wait to get to Canada. Mark, welcome. First time caller, long time listener. You must like talk radio. That's funny. San Francisco Bay Area. Can't wait to get back to the Bay Area. That's probably the plan this year as we go around up into the middle of the country through Colorado and Utah and all that. That's my plan this year, guys. Let me see if we can see it on the thing.
Oh, wow.
Probably not, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So we're in Florida right now, so then across the south and up through the middle and then down the west coast is kind of the plan. So can't wait to get to the Bay Area. That's so great. And Laura's here. Newish, been listening, but first time commenting. There's really a town in Tennessee called Killer. That is really killer, Laura. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate that. Let's look for a few more questions here. Uh, Rose Life is 200 days from retirement. We know Terry out there from Boynton Beach. He is 45 days from retirement, and he's already gotten permission from the wife to sayonara in the van. He is so excited. We saw him at the roundup. It's just, I'm very happy for you, Rob. That's great. Let's see a few more questions here. Good. So Sparks guys always got questions that are. So have Zach and Josh both been to the Harvest Host Winery in Brooksville, Florida? I'm not sure what that next word is. The Weatherall Family Winery, great spot, 275 feet above sea level. What? That's kind of a high spot in Florida.
Yeah, that's pretty high
It's
for
like a
Florida.
mountain in Florida.
I know.
Yeah.
Only condo towers.
I haven't been there.
Yeah, that's Harvest Host. If you're not familiar with Harvest Host, you say about 8,000 locations now. It's about all in about $225 a year. You go to my website, save 15%. But I think the cool thing is it takes you places you wouldn't go to have really great experiences. And as we learned this last weekend, one of the great things is the spirits and the whatever. But it's the friends you make in the parking lot drinking those spirits.
Yeah.
Morning, and then you get up and you have a Bloody Mary the next morning. It's so great. I just love it. See, Sherry's got a question here. The schedule for the Vanlife Gathering looks amazing. Thank you for all your hard work on this. Yeah, let's give these guys a shout out. I mean, it is not a light load you guys put upon yourselves. And thank you for doing it. It's really, I've got my little thing going. It's already driving me crazy, so I can't imagine. How many vans again? You expect about 300?
It's going to be close to 300.
That is insane. That's a small town. You got to name the town.
Yeah, that's the one thing we haven't named.
Yeah,
is the whole town.
It's the whole town. You got to think about that. Yeah. Long lines at dump stations. Yeah, there is a dump station with fresh water available, but you have to kind of move your van around. So the idea is to show up with empty tanks. It's only 2 days, 3 days, 2 nights, so you should be able to get away with that pretty easily, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Sherry's thanking crossing 30,000. Yeah, it was kind of funny. The video launched on the staycation video launched on Sunday night. So I was actually an hour late because my upload speed was so horrible. And I was 3 away. I texted Kyle, I'm 3 away from being 30,000 subscribers. Video launched and subscriber 1 checked out. I lost 5 subscribers. I'm like, oh my God, it took 2 days of my life to put that together. New people checked out. Somebody did. But yes, thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. It's been a journey. Also a good one. Mark Williams got a question. Josh and Zach, have your guests looked into water recycling for long showers?
Controversial. Yeah. Boy, we've looked into that. We've talked to a lot of our customers who are doing that. I mean, it's a really interesting idea, but the people who've done it tend to feel frustrated with all the filters that they have to replace. So, I mean, that's what you're looking at, kind of complexity of filtering and plumbing versus, let's say, the complexity of finding water. So I think that kind of comes down to your mode of travel. If you feel like that recycling is going to, ultimately that calculus is, it's going to be better to have the complexity of the plumbing system and the filtering versus having the complexity of finding water. Or for other people, it's the opposite. Like finding water might be fairly simple, how they're traveling, where they're traveling. But yeah, I mean, the trade-off, there's complexity on both sides. Basically, it's a trade-off.
Yeah, I think kind of the return, right? I mean, for $25, you get Planet Fitness,
right,
and shower like I did today. Or the Purple Palace, as we call it. Okay, a couple more questions. Then we're going to turn Zach loose to go do a van tour. So stay tuned, folks. Let's see. Kathmandu's got a good question here. I'm curious who Vanlife Outfitters would recommend for cabin AC service in Florida. I'd like to get your DIY vans 12 volt, 134 amp mini split recharge before the warm weather sets in. Thoughts on that? So cabin's AC service?
Cabin AC. So like we're servicing the AC? Is that the question?
Or is it replacing? I'd like to get our DIY vans 12 volt, 134 amp mini split recharged.
Contact us. We actually, if you're in our area, Southwest Florida, we have a technician we work with who can do that for you. Otherwise, we don't really, that's not something we end up doing a lot because we're installing typically new air conditioners. But we do know some people in this area, at least, and you can reach out to us. Probably the best email is orders@vanlifeoutfitters.com.
And kind of mobile technicians are really a unsung hero these days. It's really hard to get an appointment someplace, but they know a lot about the basic systems in an RV. AC, recharging it probably is not way out of the.
Yeah.
So just even Google search your area, look for the stars.
Yeah, probably like a mobile RV repair.
Yeah.
If you don't have any luck there, because I know that a lot of the RV repair shops are very busy. You might even have some luck with a just a regular AC or appliance technician. We've actually had to call somebody to help with that before. So
good idea. And Catman, one thing you might think about, if there's like a commercial RV park in your area, a KOA or something like that, they usually have a pretty good resource list of mobile RV techs that have been vetted by their customers and the team there. So if you have a campground like that close to you, that's what I've been using when I have a little issue. And again, they come to you. It's same or next day service. I mean, the whole thing is like a couple $300 and you're done. And versus waiting 3 to 5 weeks or a couple. I mean, it's just crazy. Couple more questions. This one's on the event. Justin wants to know, speaking of volunteers, I signed up for the one that starts at 1 p.m. opening day, but the gates open at 2. Assume I show up early. Let whoever know you're volunteering.
Great question.
Yeah, we'll be sending out an email a week or two before the event, just kind of for everybody, but also for the early volunteers on that early shift on Friday, letting you know that when to arrive. And everybody who's in the early shift on Friday will definitely be allowed to arrive early. And then for everybody else, gates open at 2:00. We're okay if you want to start forming a line around noon, but we're not going to start letting everybody into the event until 2:00. But try not to get there before noon.
And get there before dark.
Yeah, the gates close at 7. The park gate closes at 7.
Nothing you guys are in control of. So the county park has gates.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in for the night and in for the day.
So get stock up on all your supplies before you come. We will have food trucks. We will have a beer tent. We'll have free water at the event. But if you need anything, there's a Walmart 10 minutes away. And if you have a big group, I know, Scott, you have a big group, but if you have a small group of just a few friends or something like that want to all be parked together, we recommend all meeting at the Walmart parking lot or somewhere in town and then driving in together, because we will be parking vans in the order that they arrived, unless you're in a special parking row like the Scott Watson Way or Go Small Live Large Lane. If you're just not in one of those groups, just stage your group outside and all drive in together. That way you'll be checked in sequentially and parked together.
Great advice. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be chaos.
Organized
chaos. Yeah. 2 more questions and we're going to have to do a van tour. So Sparks Guy, do Van Lab dudes, that'd be you two, party with the Lithionics team?
Yes, and in a sense, yes. They're kind of our neighbors in Clearwater, and we've visited their facility a few times. We love their products. We sell their products. When I do my camper van tour, we're using Lithionics batteries in there. So yeah, we great people up there, amazing products. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a party. We'll see.
We party with them, and shout out to Zach. If you haven't seen, we have a really great video that he did of a tour of Lithionics and kind of their factory, and also what makes the Lithionics batteries so special. So check that out on our YouTube channel.
Last question here, then we're going to turn you loose, Zach, on on the venture, because people are chomping the bit. Jim Everett wants to know, would love to find replacement Travato bike rack trays that will accommodate fat tire for this electric bike. Also would love to know the best bathroom sink and shower replacement faucets. Do you guys get into component swaps, or is it kind of a whole bike rack replacement?
I actually don't know who makes the bike rack on the Travato.
Summit Products, so they would be the ones to get the.
Yeah.
They may or may not have the fat tire.
Right, and that's the thing, is like we have like a Fiamma product that's similar that goes on the back door for a bike rack. So we're only familiar with the product lines we sell. I don't know if they make a fat tire tray, but that's an interesting question. It's those kinds of things, we get that all the time, but in the product lines that we sell. and it's we learn stuff every day.
Yeah. So Jim, I would recommend you go to, and they have become a funky website, but Summit Products is who makes the ladder and the bike rack on the Travado. So check out what they're offering these days, and best bathroom sink and shower replacement. What I would recommend is checking out the Winnebago Owner and Wannabe group on Facebook. It's really a living Wikipedia for everything Travado. I don't go there much, but if you don't ask the question, it's been asked a million times, you will get all kinds of flack. But just type in the search field replacement for those things. I'm sure you'll find some current and information and some very specific product details. All right, so you ready?
Yeah.
So let's turn Zach loose. So what we're going to do is he's got the camera set up over his van. He's going to step out, and then we're going to have him kind of show us around his van and talk about some of the products that he has put in and why. Josh, you want to sit there, then you won't be looking at my back of my screen. That's probably a little easier for you too. Huh? Yeah. And then we're going to have a Heineken toast. Turns out he likes Heineken, which is kind of cool.
Sounds good, yeah.
All right, so let's kind of get him spun up here. So, Zach, can you hear us and see us?
I definitely can hear you.
Okay,
and I can see you. Yeah.
Okay, so we can see you. So maybe just since it's dark outside, let's start on the inside. Just kind of show us the cab, and he's holding this his camera, or his phone. So kind of show us what we're looking at, what makes that special, and what are you really proud of. Want to point out from some of the products that you guys are showcasing in your van lab.
Sure. Yeah, so this is my fourth van build with pretty much the same layout. So obviously a big fan of the layout. Maybe the best thing about a DIY camper van is you can do exactly what you want with that in terms of the layout. But the space here as you come in the slider door is really wide open. So you often see like a galley or some kind of a cabinet here. I just have kind of a big open space, and then the two driving and passenger seats swivel around. This is a Lagoon table, a product I think everybody who's a van lifer knows. It's one that we sell and we love, but it just sort of like stows away over the galley like that. So it's real easy to deploy, and it creates a tabletop, but also additional like counter space if you need it, and it kind of gets out of the way. And then the galley itself, pretty basic. Big fan of drawers in my layout. So this van actually has 14 drawers. They're all quite deep. So fit just really a ridiculous amount of stuff in there. The only propane appliance in this van is actually the cooktop, and that's simply because of preference. This electrical system in this van, which I'll show you in a minute, is quite capable, so I could definitely do induction, but I just like this compact unit, and I prefer cooking with gas. So getting into products we sell, one of them is this is a Mabru. It's a 12,000 BTU rooftop air conditioner that is 12 volt, and it uses at maximum about 55 amps on high, and on low and eco modes it's closer to like 25 amps. So for those who aren't totally nerdy about electrical systems, that's basically half as much power as, let's say, a traditional 120 volt AC unit. So very energy efficient at a pretty high BTU output. It's also quite quiet by comparison to a lot of the traditional units. So this is a very popular product for us. We've in this build, we made some custom trim for it, but it does come with a trim piece that's a little bit larger than that. And then this coach, I guess we'll say van, is heated by a Webasto Airtop 2000 gasoline heater. And so what we're trying to do kind of from a systems perspective is use the vehicle as much as possible. So when we get into the electrical system, you'll see that the van charges as we drive with a dedicated secondary alternator. We're using the existing fuel tank for gasoline to run that air heater, which is actually located here in this little step. And it uses very little gasoline to keep everything very warm. And then we, down here, below the refrigerator, is actually a isotemp water heater. So as I drive the van, the coolant lines are split from the engine, and they run up through a heat exchanger inside this water heater, and they actually heat this water in the water heater while you drive to a very high temperature, over 200 degrees. And then as you use the hot water, there's a mixing valve that mixes in just a little bit of cold water from your freshwater tank to cool that water down. And so this roughly 6-gallon water tank is almost always full of hot water with no additional effort or energy. You're just simply driving around. And that 6 gallons ends up being usable to something like 10 or 12 gallons because of the mixing valve, the way that it actually adds cool water as you use it. So there's a couple of these systems that are just taking advantage of the fact that you're in a van, you're moving, and so you might as well use that heat and that electricity for other purposes. And then, yeah, this is a refrigerator that we sell. I really like it in terms of its, I guess, stature and size. So it has a dedicated freezer compartment. This is a Vitrofrigo DP150, pretty much only ice in there. But hey, what a luxury to have a dedicated freezer compartment in a van, and then basically beer in here. So, but you could put food in there too if you wanted to. It's a nice fridge. The DP150 is a really cool product. We like it. Actually, it comes with a black trim and a black panel. But like most of these refrigerators, you can put in your own panel. So this is actually an aluminum, just to kind of match what I got going on over here. This fan has a wet bath. So it's a 24 by 36 inch shower pan. And, you know, very basic, but very functional. For me, having a toilet and a shower in a van is actually really important. Again, kind of one of these great luxuries of traveling, even a small rig. And then looking at the rear, there's a fixed bed here. So this is kind of a loft, I would call it, that is framed in essentially by the shower and the refrigerator. So it's kind of like open through the van, but it's a little bit closed off. Got some more drawers here for storage. And if we jump over here to the side wall, the power system in this van's pretty cool. This is the control panel and monitoring panel from Victron. It's called the Serbo GX. And it does all the things you would think it would do in terms of showing, you know, your shore power income, your battery, state of charge. But we've also got tank monitoring here. So I have a freshwater tank and a gray water tank. And we have a kit that allows you to pretty easily monitor your fresh or gray or whatever tanks on the Serbo GX pretty accurately. We also sell a cool little product called the Ruvi Tag. Looks like this. This is a Bluetooth sensor that sends temperature, humidity, air pressure, and motion to your phone. And you can put them all over the place. So I have one here, I have one outside, I have one in the refrigerator, and I have one in my power system. And all of those are also available here on your Super GX screen. So I can see the refrigerator right now is at 46 degrees. Looks like inside it's 69, and so on. So one of the things that we're doing is experimenting with the Serbo GX and the Victron line of equipment to kind of expand the capability. And then I'll show you the electrical system in a minute, but we've combined the secondary alternator with some Lithionics batteries to create a kind of not Volta, but a Volta-esque system in terms of its capabilities and range. It's just a floor, but you know, I'm pretty fond of the flooring. This is a product called Lawn Seal, which is marine vinyl. So it's very durable. There's no gaps. Comes in a million different patterns. And, you know, because it's a marine product, again, just super durable. and great to use. Here is a example of those panels that Scott was talking about. So in a Promaster, with your DIY builder, there's this pretty funky little piece of trim that you need to create over your slider door. And if you want to make this out of wood, it's going to be a real struggle. So we actually have a formed plastic panel here, and we sell a bunch of these panels, but this one's particularly useful just in terms of the amount of time it's going to save you and so forth. Looks like I'm having some focus issues, but those are the kind of time savers that we would talk about in our store. And then we have this insect screen, so it's magnetic. On this side, you can come in and out of the screen there. And then this side zips up, so the whole thing, when you don't want it deployed, can actually be rolled up out of the way. On the slider door itself, we've used a couple of our other panels that we sell. And then on the outside of the van, it's way too dark for you to see, and you don't really see it anyway. And it's probably not very sexy for a lot of people, but we actually have a gray water tank that's custom formed for a Promaster that, if you could see, would be kind of like here underneath the slider door of the van. And that's a huge time saver and problem solver for DIY folks, because especially Promasters don't have a lot of space underneath the van. And so creating a 26-gallon gray water tank that's easy to install and has that much capacity, plus comes with the brackets and everything, is pretty cool. And again, kind of dark here, but we've got a garage area right there. The garage area is composed of actually 3 pieces. It's quite dark again, but there's quite a large storage area in here on the right side, or the passenger side. And that's also where the electrical system is. And then there's 3 drawers. It's too dark, I'm afraid, but you can kind of see there's a ton of storage in these 3 drawers. And then a deep cavity here where I've got a Starlink and chairs, an air compressor. You know, this was my attempt at ultimate maximization of space under the bed. A power system, a water tank, a very deep storage cavity, and this thing where you have a combination of like drawers and just storage. And so, you know, I felt like I did pretty good with that. I can cram a lot of stuff in here. And then here is the power system. So like we talked about earlier, big fans of Victron energy equipment. So we kind of have a very capable power system here. And underneath the hood is a dedicated charging alternator. So when the van is idling, it will output something like, 100, maybe 120 amps of power. And when you're driving, it's going to output something like 200 to 220 amps of power. So it's very significant. It would be like having an awful lot of solar panels on your roof, except that this system will work under all conditions. As long as the car is, on, as long as the engine is running, it doesn't matter if it's daytime, nighttime, sunny, rainy. So that is this area, and this area is where all those power system components are. Pretty easy to get to. And then this is going to be a pretty tough handheld maneuver, but I'll try it anyway. Under here, there we go. Yeah, that's the Lithionics batteries. So that's 2 320 amp hour Lithionics batteries. So this is a 640 amp hour battery bank. And you can see, the footprint of that is not very big compared to, or in relationship to, how much capacity that is. Yeah, and these batteries, 630, 640 amp hours could potentially be recharged in, just a number of hours driving So this allows me to use all the capabilities of the van, being here in Florida, running the air conditioner all night and so forth, while being able to recharge as needed.
That is superb. Good job with the one-hand maneuver.
You think you could? You think you could? I don't know. Can you hear us?
Should be able to.
You think you could see the deck, or the roof rack, or anything like that? Or...
Let me try that. So, so coming around the side here, I've got a side ladder. It's a silver van. Because I'm using that alternator for charging, I was able to omit solar panels, or at least fixed solar panels. So if you climb up, which I will attempt to do, there is a roof rack with a roof deck. And I do have some portable solar panels that I will throw up there if I'm parked in a sunny space for a while, and let's say not driving, just to get some additional charge. But for the most part, it is a deck going up. What could possibly go wrong?
Gravity.
You can see the air conditioner there too.
Right. Okay. Well, folks, we made it. Yeah. So this is a pretty nice size, relative to the size of a van, roof deck. And so what we have on the roof plan here is, this is the exterior of that Mabru, 12,000 BTU, 12 volt DC air conditioner. This roof deck, you can kind of see it's black, so it's definitely not the best view right now, but there's an awning. And then over the back here, I have a mount for that Starlink, and you can see the translucent cover of the Max fan. So yeah, the choice there is to have a fan over the bed, which is actually what I use most of the time for climate control. And so I have that over the bed. It's much quieter than the air conditioner, and it's more versatile. And then I have the air conditioner positioned in the front, so that when it is turned on and running, it's not blowing directly over your face. And there's Scott's van, the studio.
And that air conditioner is super slim. It's something like 6 or 6.5 inches. So super slim compared to the typical 120 volt air conditioners.
Slim.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
Mine's probably at least 10 inches.
Yeah.
Or more,
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
So it's barely noticeable when you're standing on the ground looking at the side of the van. It's barely noticeable that you have an air conditioner on your van, especially if you have a roof rack kind of surrounding it.
Super great. Well, Zach, if you can maneuver, do you want some help getting down?
No.
Come back inside. There's a few more questions.
Sure.
And we'll have a Heineken toast. Maybe while you're doing that, Josh, let's see if we can answer a couple of these questions. We'll keep the camera on in case there's a gravity test.
Another cool thing about the Serbo is you get the free membership to VE Bus, which allows you to connect a GPS to it, and you can monitor your van from anywhere in the country as long as you have a Wi-Fi signal in your van. You can be 1,000 miles away from your van, and you can see the temperature. You can see where your van's located. You can see your battery percentage. You can pretty much we can help troubleshoot on your system by logging in, and that's a really big benefit. And also, you can set a geofence around your van, so if it moves or leaves that geofence, it alerts you to let you know that something's going on with your van.
Really cool.
So it's a really cool, feature-rich system with the Serbo system. Zach can talk a little bit more about that as well.
Wonder if Gene and Roger are getting their hands on one of those. Good job, sir.
Hey, I survived.
You did. Good job.
Yeah, explaining some of the benefits of the Serbo system with the being able to monitor from abroad.
Right.
A couple more questions, then we'll let you get the Heinekens out of the fridge here in a second. Libation Live, a little late tonight. We had a few more minutes. Hang in there, folks. So let's see. Ken's got a super sticker, so thank you, Ken, for jingling in the jar. Appreciate that. The teams did a really good job tonight. Here is Matthew. Let's give a huge shout out. $20. Whoa. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that a tremendous amount. That helps a lot. Bill and Joe have a question for the team. What do the guys think about the undermount AC system, keeping it off the roof and out of the sight of the HOA? LOL. We met Bill and Joe last weekend at the Roundup, and they were really concerned about the HOA. So ladder on the side of the van kind of gives it away, but if you can take off some of those, I don't need some of those accessories. AC is kind of a big giveaway. So what are your thoughts on the split situation?
Those are great. We have a lot of customers using Cruise and Comfort in particular, very popular brands. We don't sell those. They're not as DIY friendly. So going back to a lot of our customers, so they're just harder to install. More parts, they don't come pre-charged. You have to get an AC tech to charge that up. The only complaints we've really heard are the price, the complexity. If you can get over that, it's just that they tend to blow up dust, right? So that condensers on the outside, big fans. Sometimes they will have some kind of mechanical problems because of, if you're in dusty environments, you can imagine how blowing a fan against the ground and having that dust fly up into your system.
That kind of gives you away. You look like Back to the Future as your
right.
DeLorean.
It's like a man's going to like hover up.
That's pretty funny. That's so great. What do you guys think about this shot tonight? It's kind of cool, right? Let's check and see if anybody stole my iPad. Nope. This is great. A couple more questions here. Teresa, Frisco T. I signed up for the GSLL code for the Vanlife Gathering, but added to the comment, stay with us. Will I be parked with Scott's group?
Yeah.
You guys have been pretty good about that. So
if you there's a questionnaire when you buy a ticket that asks you what group you're with. You can select that there, but also the welcome team when you get checked into the event will also ask you which group you're with. If you're with Scott or Go Small Live Large, and you can just let them know, and then they will route you to the proper parking area.
That is so great. A couple more questions. Let me see how far behind I'm really caught up. This is great. So, Rich, I see your question here. I'm not sure if it's a question or a statement. Electric bikes are very heavy. The door mount racks usually have a weight limit of around 70 pounds. I think technically it says 100, but we have a hitch rack for our two electric bikes. It's probably the safer thing. And the electric bikes are big. They're very popular, very heavy, big battery. Yeah. Have you guys kind of waded into that bike rack?
So I didn't show it on my van, but I have a hitch-based bike rack. It's the Rocky Mounts backstage, I believe. Backstage. And it's great for electric bikes or standard bikes because it folds out of the way. So it's on your rear doors, mounted on the hitch, but it has a two-piece pivot. So you saw I had my doors completely open, even though the bike rack is on there. So within like 25 seconds, I can get the bike rack unlatched and pivoted out of the ways, so both the doors open, and it's lower too. So we're talking about electric bikes. Instead of having to hoof that thing up against like the wall, or the door of your van, right. A hitch mount's a little bit lower.
Yeah, the bike thing is, I'm kind of going through this right now. I had a Winnebago bike rack. It's a big, long story. I won't get into it, but I'm looking forward to the Rover Van's implementation of a bike rack because it's a nice feature to have. And I'm excited to see all the accessories on the vans at the Florida Vanlife Gathering. Mm-hmm. I think that's where you really get to see it, touch it, talk to the owner's experience. You guys are going to have a booth there. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, we'll have a booth there, and one of the big pluses of this Florida Vanlife Gathering is getting to check out all the vans in one place. Where else can you?
We're doing van tours.
Yeah, we're gonna have we're calling it the Open Van, and it's going to be a series of hours during Saturday and Sunday where people can choose to either hopefully open their van to let people in to take a look at it. I mean, where else can you go and check out possibly up to 300 vans at one time?
Yeah, it's going to be insane. Look at this. We got It's a 10 spot. Thank you, Frisco T. Appreciate that. She's actually helping me. Thank you so much again for your. Oh, I'll go this way. Actually, let's do like this. It'll be kind of fun. Thank you, Frisco T. She's helped me put up the Lukenbach, Texas event. So she's been tremendous help. So I know what you guys are going through on a tenth of the scale. But thank you, Teresa, for that. I was going to show you something. Let's bring a question up. Mason Mike, thank you, sir. Let's see what you have to say. $10. Thank you. I just got on. Sorry, I missed most of the show. I'll be heading your way for Vanlife. So he's actually coming from Arizona.
Wow.
That's a big round trip.
That's impressive. Yeah, we should do something like
furthest distance, right?
Furthest distance.
Yeah.
In the van. You can't fly in. That's not
Yeah.
Right.
That's cheating.
But thank you, Mason Mike, for giving the jingle in the jar. I appreciate that. These are some just awesome audience friends. I wanted to bring up a question. I'm going to show you one thing that's going to crack you up and get the beer. So Kathleen's got a question here. Here so you guys can see this. What do y'all think about sliding doors for the side door? Sliding screen doors for the side door. I have a cat, so typical bug screens are super escape proof. Any recommendations? I can just tell you from mine, and you guys can chime in. I'm going to jump out. So mine pulls across the door, and it is not cat proof, dog proof, or even really bug proof. Big bugs stay out, but it's not adhered to the bottom, Kathleen. So a smart cat like mine's were, they slipped right out underneath. So there's no real protection, and a dog can figure it out. Cats are a little more smart than dogs, but
Yeah.
do you guys have any suggestions on screens? It's kind of a big deal for pets, right?
Zach's the cat guy, but I can't imagine a screen holding in some cats.
Let me jump up.
Zach's
Yeah,
has more expertise on that than I do.
So I'm going to have it forward. Just
I mean,
one
there
second.
there are some that do have a track on the bottom. So the track on the top, track on the bottom. That's a product we're looking at. Woo, woo.
So it's gonna be a friend of my van for the van tours.
Well, we're gonna have signs as well.
Not that big.
Not
though.
that big, no.
Yeah, blowing us out of the water. But yeah, so like Scott has a track on the top, I believe. There are some versions that have a track on both the top and the bottom, which are obviously more secure. I think that a lot of van builders are not using those because they're really hard to get for a DIYer. Cheers. And the tracks tend to get wonky. So as you open and close it a lot, they tend to break. So that's a tough one. That's a real tough one.
Yeah, it's, and I only know what I know. Mine's worked out really well. It's never pulled off track, and survived 2 cats, but it does pretty good. So it's kind of that holy grail, right? There's a few things in the van that everybody's always looking for the perfect thing, and when somebody finds the perfect thing, they're gonna make $1 million.
Yeah.
All right, so we're way late on Libation Live. So y'all ready to pop the top? Oof. Heineken in the Slim Can, which actually fits in the van fridge very well. Cheers, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight, sharing your expertise.
Thanks for having us, Scott.
And thanks for putting on the Florida Vanlife Gathering. I'm so excited. It's going to be such. All right. Can you imagine
I can't wait.
300
That's
vans?
gonna be amazing.
And if there's 2 people in a van, it's like 600 people roaming
I know.
around.
We're
It's
gonna-
going to be insane. I'm going to be out of bourbon. I better start buying. Just kidding. Okay, a couple more things. I want to give a shout out to Steven. He is coming at us from Dubai tonight. So United Arab Emirates, that's a new flag, so we'll be putting on the map. Thank you for that, for tuning in. Appreciate that. Sparks Guy wants to know, have you guys gotten into the Berkeley water filtration? The Russos are really into the Berkeley. You guys do those at all, or?
I have one at home. I haven't put it in my van. I don't. I think you'd probably have to. I think you'd have to probably build a cabinet for the Berkey, because it's kind of like a, very rudimentary system. But it's very popular. I use it at home. Yeah, you'd have to probably. I don't know what the Russos do, but I would imagine having to build a cabinet to kind of enclose that system.
Because it's pretty big, right?
Yeah, they have smaller versions, but I think you would probably want to filter at least a gallon or 2 at a time.
Yeah.
In my van, I just have a regular under the sink type of water filtration system with a dedicated faucet.
Okay. One more question, then we'll do a song of the night. Simply Sonora wants to know, is the bed fixed? Zach talking about your van, or does it move? What size is the bed? Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Hi,
so
Simply.
it's a fixed bed. It's really a fixed kind of living space, and it's a full-size bed. So it's just a standard full-size bed. One of the nice things about the Promaster chassis is that you have so much space between the passenger side and the driver's side that you don't need to cut down a mattress, and you can have that orientation, feet, let's say passenger side, head, driver's side, and not go the other way.
Yeah, actual dimensions of a full-size mattress, in case you don't want to look it up, is 55 wide by 75 long. So about 6'3" length.
Very good. Let's see. We see this is Bill and Joe putting a little jingle in the jar. Appreciate that, gentlemen. Thanks. Good to see you guys. They are shopping for a van. Boy, they are putting every van to the test. So, and they're actually renting a van. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bill and Joe. They're renting a van. They live on kind of the Fort Lauderdale side, and they're renting a van to join us at the Florida Vanlife Gathering to test out. So that's the way to do it.
Very cool.
Get in, get wet.
Well,
That's smart.
We're going to have about 10 to 15 van builders there. And will have, I believe they will have some vans for sale if you want to check them out. But if they don't have anything that you like, I'm sure they can, build you the van of your dreams if you want to go that route as well. And then Embassy will be there too if you really want to get crazy.
Yeah, we just got word on that today that Embassy signed up to be a sponsor exhibitor.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Embassy van owners showing up. That's what kind of got Terry in motion and the Embassy RV team. So they're really excited. So if you're really kind of curious about the Embassy RV, they do things very differently than a lot. That's the place to go. So if you don't have a camper van and you can't stay the camp out, but you want to come for a day, how does that work? Do you have day passes?
Yeah, we'll have day passes available. Then the day passes are open from 10 to 5, and that will get you access to all the workshops, the open van tours, talk to builders, food trucks, all that stuff. Pretty much everything except for the nighttime, music festivities. But the day passes are available. We kept them at a reasonable price, and
It's gonna be so much fun. You guys don't know what you started. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, we really appreciate you and all the support that you've given and helping us, and we're really can't wait for this event. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be great. There's always some fun Van Town names. What was the name taken way back to the 80s? Tina Turner. It was in the Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Remember the name of her town? Anybody remember what that was? It was like the Pig Town. It was Bartertown. Bartertown. That's not a good name for a Van Town.
Vangrila or Vanadu.
Excuse me. All right, one last thing here, and there are a couple more questions, but I want to show this to the folks. We always like to do the song of the week, and this is going back a ways. That's why we're showing a record player. Life's Been Good by Joe Walsh. My question for you is, when's the last time you've heard this song? It is such a great song, and what I didn't really realize, that's why I love this show, I have to do some research, is the song in 1978 was number 12 on the Hot 100, and Rolling Stone put Joe Walsh as number 4 of 100 greatest guitarists of all time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know he was part of the Eagles. He joined the Eagles in 1975, and what's even more amazing to me is he had 12 solo albums. I only know this one song pretty well. It's a great song. If you're in a bad mood, you need to listen to this song. It'll get your mood lifted. He talks about his Maserati and he can't drive anymore. It's just a great song. I can't drive. It's so great.
Hopefully you don't lose your license if you're a van lifer.
Out of business.
Out of business.
A couple more questions here for the team. We'll cut everybody loose. Justin wants to know, Vanlife Outfitters, could you install a Maybrew AC on a Travado? My current Coleman Mach 10 NDQ uses a good 1200 watts, 55 amps, which is what I have. So can you replace it? Any idea?
Yes. We don't, like I said before, we do very limited installations and service at our facility, but we have partners all over the place that we work with. So we can supply them with the air conditioner. We support them in terms of like the technical stuff when needed. And so I don't know where you're at, but if you're in Florida, definitely. If you're somewhere else, we can probably recommend somebody who can do that for you. For sure.
Good question. My only comment would be to make sure that if you have GL? I think you do, right? I think you do, Justin. You have a GL. Make sure that the flange on the inside is not too wide because you have a bathroom wall.
Right.
Looking down the hall.
Yeah.
That's why I cannot put in a Truma
Okay.
AC because it's too wide and it won't fit in the hallway.
Oh, interesting.
Whereas in the K you can because it's in the middle
Yeah.
of the van.
Yeah.
So you're limited here by the width of the bathroom wall. Just beware of that.
So yeah, reach out. We can give you the dimensions are on our website for that piece. Like I explained before, there's an outer trim piece that most van people don't use because it's very big. So you're just looking at the dimensions of the inner piece that you saw in my van, and I believe that just looking at it would fit in this hallway space.
They're kind of enjoying hanging out in Lily. I must say, you guys are like,
Yeah.
whoa, it's like being in a bar. I'm like, dude, you don't know.
I know.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some more hanging out at the gathering.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
Something tells me and Zach are going to spend a lot of time over there on Scott Watson Way.
It's got lots of way
Scott
at Goalie
Watson
Large
Way,
Lane.
sure.
Oh my god, so funny! I love it. Question for Mason Mike: do you guys do van reconfiguration? I'm going to say it's probably a no, but do you know folks that could do some remodeling? So if you want to set up like this, some furniture, do you know folks that would do something like that? Do you guys get into that?
Yeah, like Zach said, if you're in Florida, we can recommend. We have a lot of local partner builders that we work with that we've vetted, because there's definitely some good ones and some bad ones. So we've done our due diligence, and we can recommend some builders that can do a lot of reconfigures and rebuilds. We've referred people that have bought vans from other builders that were kind of disasters when you start peeling back the walls, and our partners got them back up and running, and the van looking really nice and tight and beautiful. So if you're in Florida, we can recommend somebody. And if you are not in Florida, we can probably also recommend somebody. We have a lot of builders who are we work with and partner with all over the country, and we actually have a directory on our website. In the header bar, it just says directory, and you can filter by state, just putting in the initials of the state that you're in, and it will pull up a list of all the builders in that state. And we've got it up to like almost 300 or 400 builders in the country now. So we really put a lot of work into maintaining that list in the directory.
That's a super great resource. And again, vetted products are vetted. I mean, taking the guesswork out is half the battle, and finding it is the other half, right?
Yeah.
This is a good question from Rich about the Florida Vanlife Gathering, February 3 to 5. Is there good cell coverage in the park?
So I have Verizon, and the cell service is full 4 bars or whatever it is, have very good signal. And Zach unfortunately has Verizon as well. So we know that Verizon's good. We don't know what the tower is going to look like with 600 plus people pinging on the tower. So but it's only 10 minutes from town. So I think that it being that close to town, you're going to probably have good cell signal. But if you don't shoot me.
Right. All right. I think, Mason Mike, we got yours, right? All right. Well, I think with that, let's say, what's that going to do? Oh, thank you to Josh and Zach. Stay up late. I mean, it's way past dinner time. So
Thank you, Scott.
you guys
thanks,
just
Scott.
did a great
Really
job.
appreciate it.
And
Really
I'm
appreciate
so
support.
excited for putting the Vanlife Fellowship as part of the gathering together. It's just, I think that's where the magic really happens. The van's cool.
Yeah.
Going places are cool, but it's really the van people you meet. That to me is the magic of the whole thing.
Yep.
And we're going to find a few folks we just can't live without. I'm sure out of
Yep.
300 fans. That is so insane. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight for another What's Up Wednesday, episode 105. Next week is a super show in Tampa, and we are doing a gazillion different things, including staying overnight in the Wingham on the last day of the show. You don't want to miss a single one. We're going to be doing a lot of YouTube lives, a lot of short form videos. So just stay tuned to your YouTube channel. Make sure you get the notification bell clicked so that when I go live, it's going to be a 10-minute tour of the vans. We're going to try something very different this year. But it's going to be a crazy week next week. Join us for the roundup on the 19th. And ask Volt Jack all your lithium questions, and just again a big shout out to Zach and Josh for staying up late and putting the Vanlife Gathering together. I'm so excited. So big
Thank you,
cheers for
Zach.
everybody. Woo!
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, everybody. Night night. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you at the gathering. Apparently, awesome.